frenzied. Now, Arisen, end it!
I really wish there was a way to tell the NPCs to shut up, though. There really isn't. You can tell your main pawn to reduce chatter, but it doesn't help so much. Plus, it's just for the main pawn. Right, so that right there is the city and the game's main hub. The importance of it is pretty downplayed, honestly.
Get it! He's near arrived. Armed rogues. They're left exposed after a grand quick succession. An opening.
Thankfully, this escort quest is going a lot better than I initially thought it would. For most of my characters, I do shop in the initial town, and the gear you can get there is not very good, but it's a lot better than what you start out with. As you might have noticed, my gear is pretty much consists of a rusted shield and a very rusted sword. So, not too surprised that you can buy something better, even in the first village.
Seems all roads lead to Grand Sorin.
Now, I am planning to probably play through the whole game at some point, but I don't think it'll be at the rate at which I played through Hand of Fate. So, the thing with Hand of Fate was that I pretty much had a basic idea of how long it would take to complete the game, and I figured I can probably do it in a few recording sessions. This game has a lot of things to discover, a lot of things to see, a lot of things to experience, and so on. So I am going to try to cover as much of those as possible, but that'll take a long time, especially with the Dark Arisen content. Now, that is in no small part thanks to the difficulty, by the way. The base game may not be that difficult to complete, and you'll see that, I'm sure, pretty quickly. But the Dark Arisen content is pretty challenging, especially if you go there at a certain level. So you might have noticed, besides the vocation rank, I am actually leveling up. Like you can see, level 8 right there. My character is leveling up, and the level ups give you, basic stat increases like plus strength, plus stamina, or whatever. And there is pretty much a minimum you should have before going to Dark Arisen content, and obviously you're going to have a lot of an easier time if you're above that minimum. But there is a certain degree of farming or grinding in this game that is pretty much mandatory. That's not to say that it's not fun to, get out those levels, and it's not saying that you can't get them just doing the stuff that you enjoy, like let's say you want to do more side quests, but you need to get a certain level to go into certain content. Otherwise, you can still complete the encounters, but it's going to be very difficult, and it is going to take you a lot of time. Bosses have quite a bit of HP, even if you know their weak points. Alright, so enough of my blabbering. It appears we've finally arrived.
Well done. A Hydra's head is a fine prize. Walk proud through these streets, men.
Kind of skipping through some of the voice acting. It's not especially notable, and I did turn on the subtitles, so
Rest up, men.
if you really want to know what they're saying, you can probably see it there.
I'll make for the castle directly to offer my report to His Grace. I'll have word sent for you, friend. Pray, sojourn in the capital a while. To the castle, men! Step lively!
fortune smile. I am cold. Now you're come to the camp. My word to you, their kinds will be.
I've learned what to
Right.
do in this quest.
Okay, so this is the point from which you can do whatever you want. You have access to the main hub, you have access to the main vendors, you have access to whatever you want to do pretty much. So this is pretty much the main weapons vendor. And yeah, they pretty much always say the same phrase, so you will hear Masterworks all very often. Now, as the game goes on, you will unlock more items here. So this is not his final inventory, obviously. But he still has quite a few items. You can see the items there are split by vocations. There's 9 in total, from what you can see there. And as I mouse over different items, or rather, I select different items, you can see for which vocations they are. So this one, for example, is only usable for the warrior, whereas this is usable for 3 vocations, including the strider. So this is usable by the archmage, if I remember right. So, is there an item usable by everybody? Let's see. Yeah, there we go. So the 6 main vocations that you saw in the pawn selection that we could filter by, you can see those right here. They are the top 3 in a horizontal line and the bottom 3 in a horizontal line. So those would be fighter, strider, and mage, with warrior, ranger, and archmage at the bottom. Now, there are 3 more vocations that you see in the middle, which have split colors. That is because they are mixed vocations. So you can mix any of the base classes with another class, and you'll get that vocation. So, for example, the first one mixes the warrior with the strider to get the... I don't remember what it was called, but to get a different class. And these vocations, if I remember correctly, are only available to you and your main pawn. I'm not sure about the main pawn, but they are available to you. They are not available to the random pawns you can recruit from the stone. And some of these combinations, by the way, are very powerful. Like the one in the middle, the very middle, is the magical archer, or the arcane archer, or whatever the hell it's called. And that one has a very powerful ability, which some people would say is even better than the ranger's final ability. Anyway, let's see if we can buy something. Yeah, so you can see even the basic trusty sword, which appears to be the crappiest thing ever, is a massive upgrade. So you can see our strength on the left there goes from 126 to 200, so that's a pretty major increase. I do, however, kind of want to get a 2-hander, but they do require the warrior class or vocation.
We'll be easy
Now,
going, searching in
the
this
guy
area.
in here, yeah,
It's not the last.
is the vocation trainer.
For pray, I hope this. Oh,
Yes, 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 I know. So you can rest. You have a kind of bank where you can put items in, and you can change vocation here. So you can become any of the vocations here, and you will see your rank. So if you change vocation, your rank stays the same. As in your vocation's rank stays the same if you switch back to it. So if I become a strider, I will be rank 1. But if I go, become a strider and then decide I want to go back to fighter, I return back to a rank 3 fighter. So the progress you make on each vocation does not get wiped at any point, which is great. Ah, there we go. So Mystic Knight, Assassin, and Magic Archer are the 3 extra vocations. Now let me see if the main pawn can get them. No. So it's only you, only the main character can get the 3 split vocations. And yeah, the Magic Archer does have also a staff. Assassin, Mystic Knight. I think the Mystic Knight is one of those really powerful vocations that are really boring to play, so I'll just stick with my original plan and go Warrior. Now, this is why I made it look a bit more, or rather, I guess this is why the preset I had, which was a Warrior, looks a lot more manly. It's because, she does wear kind of more manly armor, I guess, with skins and plate. whatever. You'll see what I mean later on, but you'll notice this costs us discipline points. These are different from like levels in experience, but they are earned pretty much the same way. You kill mobs and you get discipline points. However, there are mobs which give very low discipline points and very high experience, and vice versa, very low experience and very high discipline points. There are ways to farm discipline points, by the way. Now, I'm not sure if the sorcerer also does well with healing. I think the mage is the one you want to stick with for healing. I'm not sure. I'll just leave her where she is. You can also... Yeah, so when you change vocation, obviously most of your old gear cannot be equipped. So this cannot be equipped by a warrior, as you notice. So it unequips pretty much all your gear, and you have to re-equip it. Alright. Ah, so we got some new items. I believe these are in the bank. Wow. Some of these look very nice. Anyway, this is also the guy which skipped out, but this is also the guy which teaches you skills. So skills also cost discipline points. And so you have the basic, like longsword skill. Core skills are, I think, across all classes or vocations. Augments are passives, which you can equip, and yeah, yes, you can combine augments of different vocations together. So it's a pretty common practice to get a certain vocation which has a very good augment unlocked at a certain vocation rank, level it up to that vocation rank just to unlock the augment, and then go back to your main class using that augment. In fact, I would say it's pretty much necessary if you want to make your character above average. So here we have Bastion. I think this is from the fighter. Greatly reduces damage sustained in physical attacks, but I will take it either way. Because we are kind of a melee fighter, so... Okay. And it allows you to change your enabled skills. So you can have all the skills learned, but you can only equip a certain amount of skills. As you can see for the augments, it's 6 augments. Let's equip Bastion.
What will it be today? Have your pick. Any you like. Come again soon.
Right, let's go back to that vendor and see if we can buy some equipment. Oh, not this one.
I'll confess, the master works all.
Master works all. You will be hearing that a lot. So the first two-hander we can get, that is ironically called a two-hander, costs 21,000. Somewhat inconvenient, but I think we can probably get away with selling some items.
The master works all. You can't come again.
Let me check the bank again.
Bond, deal, last. Have your pick. Any you like. What will it be today?
Withdraw. So we have a bunch of armor, but no weapons. Interesting.
What will it be today? Have your pick. Any you like.
You can also change
will it be
equipment
today?
from here. Let's see if I can equip something. Don't think I'm wearing that, although the temptation is real. I don't think any of these are really suitable. You will notice there is armor and clothing. So you can equip one piece of clothing and one piece of armor. So certain items will count as clothing and armor, and certain items will only count as one of them, so you can combine items, sort of. So for example, this only counts as armor, so I can equip clothing under it. Even though this is pretty awful when it comes to clothing or armor. I guess that's why it's called a plebeian shirt, but whatever. Right, so this is the part of the game that is a bit annoying, but is great for RPG fans like myself, which is just micromanaging your inventory, micromanaging your gear, buying, selling. Keep in mind that all your different pawns picked up items, like all these guys. So if you go to sell, you have to go through each of their inventories to sell whatever they picked up. And they will have picked up stuff because you can't stop them from picking up stuff. You can only tell them to pick up more stuff. So this guy picked up a hunk of ore. Surprisingly, that's all. Guess didn't really pick up that much, but whatever. Yeah, so this is a bit of micromanagement, and I think I'll do this stuff off camera because it's probably going to take about 20 minutes and it's going to be extremely boring to watch. So I'll catch you all after I've done this.